YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the FMS 1800 millimeter. This thing is amazing. If you haven't already seen it, this is gonna be our second thoughts. And I have grown to really appreciate and enjoy this plane. And I'm getting some crazy long flight times. 4004S Gen 1 Smart Pack, not that it matters, Gen 2 would be fine. Note that there are LEDs and there is a front-facing LED. And without further ado, we're gonna take off. Notice my timer is 13:30. It's been set, okay? So this plane is amazing. We didn't set it up with some sort of a smart receiver. Okay, out of the flaps. 4004S, as mentioned. Beautiful night for just cruising around. We're gonna do an inside pass this time, right over the cherry tree. That's about 30% throttle there, guys. Just cruising along, absolutely no problems. Look at that thing. If you guys haven't flown a Ranger before, here, in fact, here's some barn door action. There you go. There's something about flying these planes when they're just easy and they do what you want, okay? I'm taking it very easy on this. I haven't even exceeded 50% throttle, guys. Look at the throttle, just so you can believe me. And then that forward-facing light, amazing, okay? Now there's 100% throttle. So like I said, you can kind of do what you want. I don't think they normally do that with Cessna 150s, not generally speaking. And I'm pretty sure they don't do this. But you could if you wanted. And so one of the reasons I love flying this, full landing flaps now, is just because you can fly it just about anywhere, even though it's a big plane. Do you see that? One wheel touch and go in the grass. Let's show you some grass ops next. Oh, by the way, I'm sort of rushing because the beautiful sunset. Oh, spring-loaded nose gear, spring wire mains, okay? Look at that, guys. Let's just touch and go this thing. Okay, out of the flaps all together. We'll just go up and just do this. The reflex works really good in this plane. You don't need anything too crazy. So what this plane kind of reminds me of the carobn-z Cub and the carobn-z T28, but it's smaller. It's 1800 millimeters instead of being 2000 millimeters, which means it is considerably smaller. And boy, I tell you what, you can't hardly beat those planes, but they are a lot more money. And so that's one thing I was just gonna encourage you guys, when you're trying to stretch your RC budget, don't just trust anything you hear online. We will demonstrate what we believe to be true. And if we can't demonstrate it, maybe don't believe us. But I can definitely tell you this. Okay, we're gonna hit and do a full stop this time. As you can see, it gets down in a hurry. Now that's full stop. We have 10 minutes and 8.7 now. Takeoff flaps only. Full up elevator, hard on the throttle. Get that thing off of the ground as soon as you can to preserve landing gear. And it just does everything you could possibly want. And then it does way more than it should. Takeoff flaps now. And normally I would just be out there cruising around, do a nice gentle flight. But I mean, the thing just does everything. All right, let's go to the bull camera crew, if you don't mind. We'll just bring it in here. Go to my left if you can. Thank you. A little touch and go on the grass. By the way, I really like taking off in landing from here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do another landing, but then we're gonna taxi right in, and then we're gonna take right back off into the bowl, okay? So it's a different approach. Looks like I overshot it just a little bit. Sorry, folks. Do you wanna know why I overshot?
Why?
Because I can hear people coming. They want to show.
Oh.
Whenever people are passing by, they wanna see a plane. Full landing flaps, straight down. Watch that thing slow down. Isn't that amazing, guys? That flight envelope is so wide. Okay, this guy wants some action. I can tell he does. Whenever they come by really, really slow like that, they're trying to watch.
Yeah.
They pretty much come here for the show. They know what they're doing. Sorry, guys, I got distracted by the neighborly passage. By the way, I'd rather have neighbors stopping to watch than neighbors stopping to complain. Not that I really care what they think here.
And not that they do.
Not that they do, exactly. Okay, now we'll do my plan.
Okay.
Okay, so take off flaps. And we're just gonna get into it lower this time. A little bit of throttle to help slow us down. We're gonna go past our anti-UPS stick. We'll just touch down. And then we're gonna go full stop this time, guys. So just using that nose gear to spin us around, eat up some of our inertia. Now takeoff flaps, 7 minutes, 29 seconds left here. So let's go ahead and take off right here. In fact, I'm gonna go full stop and only do grass ops, and we'll take off toward the septic tank. Oh, I hit a bump, guys. That's dangerous. Full landing flaps now. I love how easy that is. It's one of my favorite places to take off and land from. It's just a weird thing. Okay, going through the hole. Getting some dirty air back there. Did you see it getting janked around?
That's kind of weird.
Now let's watch this. Let's watch a full stall. I don't do this very often, guys. I'm out of throttle, just gliding. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It's like it'll fly forever. A little bit of crosswind action. Doesn't look like there's much wind, but there is some. I'm just like, I love the way it looks. Looks like a totally real plane. Now take off flaps. Yeah, let's get back a few feet so we can use the runway. Perfect. Good job. Now we'll try a runway landing. Look how slow it is, guys. A little bit of jankage. Woo-hoo-hoo! We're gonna do more grass ops for you now. So the moral of the story is this plane does it all. You don't have to fly it like a granny plane, but you can. And you don't have to fly it like an aerobatic creation on steroids, but you can. It reminds me a lot of other offerings that we've enjoyed. Like I said, the carobn-z, but it's so much cheaper and a little bit easier to transport because it's only 1,800 instead of 2. Now, how does this compare right overhead? How does this compare to the 1,220 millimeter? I'm just gonna say this, the 1220 is a great beginner, and honestly, you could get a lot worse as a beginner, but I'm not gonna suggest that you do this plane as a beginner, only because you can get into the 1220 and it's just a better fit in most people's circumstance. Now, if you have a programmable transmitter, or you know, hey, I'm coming back to the hobby, I'm not really new, but I just need something to wet my whistle on, okay? This would be a great option, folks. You will love flying it, and it's like, you know, you don't have to fly it a certain way. You can fly it however you want. And if the guys at the field give you crap because, oh, it's not scale, well, let them do what they want with their planes. You don't see them doing that very often.
They can buy you a scale plane if they think you should have one.
That's right. Now, here, so this is auto leveling, so I'll just jank it. There's a limited bank angle up, a limited bank angle down, limited up, limited right, or excuse me, left, limited right, okay? So that is what you get if you wanna have auto leveling on. Now, I don't fly with auto leveling anymore, but I did when I started, and that's a great tool to have. So as you can see, it's just going along, the auto leveling. Now I'm gonna shut that off. Now I'm just in a stabilized mode, so you'll see it's just gonna continue in the direction it's going. So now, with that off, I can go in and go all the way upside down. I can do whatever craziness I want. Like that. Or this. Or that. Or that. I love the scream. Listen. Hope you guys can hear that. And to be honest, some of you are gonna think this is sacrilege because I'm doing all this aerobatics. And I kind of tend to agree, because the way I'm gonna generally fly this is, I come home, it's been a stressful day, maybe something bad happened, and I just need to fly. Like I need to soothe my soul. And it's not even like dead calm right now, guys. It's not bad, but it's not dead calm, okay? Dead calm, this plane is a creation. You know, and even a little bit of wind, this thing will do fine. But my brother won't be flying. What am I talking about? My son will be flying, you know, like the 1220 millimeter Ranger, or he'll be flying something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I'll grab this thing and we'll just go at it. It's super fun. Really cool family time. Gets my mind off of a terrible day and the realities that I faced, whatever it happened to be. I was trying to touch that this time. So if you guys aren't used to flying the terrain, I'm gonna tell you, that's how you take these planes, these lumbering planes, and you just really breathe new life into them. If you're not used to doing it, I love it. But it also does eventually mean you're gonna crash, because you're gonna call it where it doesn't exist. And then you're gonna hit a tree, like I did with the pits the other day. Oh, and by the way, I think my last flight was 27.5 minutes. Okay, we're 2 minutes past, or wait, 2 minutes left
on
our 13.5, okay? So now, do you have to fly an ultra long flight? Well, I'm gonna tell you this, when it gets to be in October, it's not October now, or November, or even worse, December, and this is 3:30 on a beautiful day, it's gonna look like this. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a real factor for us in just a few short months. And so for us, we are just bracing ourselves for Mother Nature's transition. And for us in the Northern Hemisphere, that means our days are gonna get short. And because the days get short, these LEDs are the solution to the problem in most cases. Because it's gonna buy you 20, 30 minutes of flying time. So if you guys haven't already developed a certain appreciation for this, you see that bird wants it. You see that bird? That is totally the bird, hun.
It is.
It's a barn swallow. And that barn swallow is trying to take me away from its young, I think. Or it's a rabid bat, one or the other. I'm pretty sure it's a barn swallow.
Super territorial.
Inside. Man, that wind from our rear is just strong now. No, I'm serious, like from the runway. Let's see if we can drag out. Oh! We had to do a go around. If you do a go around like that at the airport, I think they pull your license.
I think that would not be good.
Let's try a really steep slip in. Come on, get in there. There we go. That was a little bit better landing. So as a result, we'll just not land it.
Since it was good. If it's bad, you don't take it. If it's good, you don't take it.
Exactly.
See how this goes.
So guys, if your whistle is not wet by this, then you're just not into this type of plane. But I gotta say, I love flying this plane. It's so much fun. It's one of my current favorites. You know, I don't really have a favorite plane because that would be like, you know, like I have 4 kids and I don't really have a favorite. Everybody has a favorite. But what I mean is most people won't admit that they have a favorite. The truth is about my airplanes, there's just too many of them and they serve different purposes. And that's one of the things we try to stress on this channel is that even when we get a plane that's maybe not our favorite, we'll try to just let you know some of the positives about it. It's not like every plane has to be the best plane that you've ever flown to be enjoyable. But also there's planes that are gonna do really good on a windy evening. And then there's planes that are gonna do terrible on a windy evening. And then there's planes that need a really expensive receiver to make them even fly. And then there's planes that you can get and pull out of the box and just go to town immediately. But what we try to do here on Brian Phillips RC is encourage people to avoid being a one and done statistic. If you're a new pilot, a one and done would be somebody who gets the wrong plane, enters the hobby at a bad time with the wrong product, and then ends up being miserable and quits. And then guess what that does to the hobby? It diminishes the hobby in a way that we can't undermine. We can't get them back, okay? We don't like one and dones. It's bad for the industry, it's bad for the hobby, it's bad for all of us that are enjoying the hobby because we need more people in this hobby. And then what else do we try to do? We try to reach the people that are getting back in the hobby because a lot of people know about aircraft and they know about, you know, glow engines and they know about monocoat and they know how to, you know, set the crystals so that they match the transmitter and receiver. Guys, we're not even using that stuff anymore. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna help get you up to speed so that you can get back into the hobby as painlessly and as inexpensively as possible. And by the way, when you start seeing the prices of some of the technology that's out there, you're gonna be amazed what you can get for similar dollar for dollar comparison to what you were getting in the 1980s, 90s, early 2000s. It's almost unbelievable, the technology that you get in a transmitter like the one I'm using now, which is a Spectrum NX10. And the different ways that you can facilitate making a plane that's already good flying even better. Okay, I can't help but feel like we're getting low.
Okay.
And I apologize if I misrepresented my last flight time. I'm wondering if I was thinking of the EC1500. If I am, guys, I am really sorry because this is not gonna go for 27 minutes. I might have also been like super lackadaisical on it. And I think that's maybe what's going on, guys. So full disclosure, 4 minutes and 2 seconds of pretty hard flying past 13 and a half. So that'd be 17 and a half minutes. That's probably more like what I expected. If I misspoke, I honestly did not mean to mislead, okay? This is on a 4000 4S, so let's just give them a shot of where I ran that pack in case you guys are trying to replicate the circumstances here. As you can see, smart pack, 4000 4S, in really good shape. And I actually pushed it back just a little bit more than my mark. Normally we have an arrow that indicates what direction we want it, the wire to come out, okay? And so I was actually flying before like that. So it was all the way into the firewall here. Now you could fly this on a 3200 and get a pretty significant flight time, guys. You're talking 17 and a half minutes of pretty solid flight time. I was not being super gentle with this plane. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I like the lights. I wish there was a way that we could have an anti-crash tail beacon because I think it would help with positional awareness on landing. And also this wing design does tend to block the LEDs when they get, you know, on this side, okay? So there is a time where the plane will disappear into the right type of clouds, even though you have LEDs. Now, it's just a matter of like tipping the plane one way or the other, but I don't like to tip when I'm trying to land. There was a trick that we used to do all the time, and that was to build up glue on the actual screen, or in this case, the LED is mounted inside of here, so it glows. It's really bright. But that was a good way to get that light spread out and around so that you can see it from more directions, okay? Now in real aviation, there's a certain range that it's supposed to be visible from, and then it's actually not supposed to be visible beyond that. We just need to see it in RC, okay? So other big thoughts about this, the wheel fairings on this, I don't think they're called wheel pants. They do like to spin sometimes. So I'll show you what I'm talking about on this plane. That would be a negative, okay? So the wheel fairings are throttle cuts tested right here. These will occasionally flip like this. Oh. And that creates a tremendous amount of drag, or they'll go around all the way like that, okay? If that continues, if you're having a persistent problem with it, it's probably because you're doing crappy landings, which I do a lot. And also rock hard tires are fine if you're doing grass ops, but this nose gear works really nicely on this plane, okay? So I'm just like, why not have a pneumatic tire on all of these? Because you would be able to easily put pneumatic tires on this, or at least Debro low bounce or something similar, okay? Removal of the wing would not be a huge issue, but I just don't like removing wings. And then also this does come with the capability to support floats, okay? So in the 1800 millimeter size class, this one becomes somewhat second to none because there just isn't a lot of 1800 millimeter sizes. We have some 15s, we have some 14s, we have some 1200s, we have some sub 1200s as well in the Cessna style, you know, echelon of plane, okay? In that series of planes. And I do like that they tried to give this a sporty finish, but I would have liked to just see the thing all yellow with a couple of black highlights or something like that. Because I'll tell you what, the white does tend to disappear. You don't see it as good as you could if it was a solid color. Fully painted planes do look nice. When you start getting into this upper echelon where they're big, I don't have a big problem with the green and lime green, black and gray finish. I like it. But the thing is, I think you could get a little more visibility out of it. So there's nothing stopping you from painting your plane. Just keep in mind, you do add weight. So maybe that's why they went with a white body, or maybe it's cheaper to do it that way and they can just jig it and paint the leading edge. I think I would have liked to see the lime green match the green on the body a little bit better. I think they did the color mismatch on purpose as a detail, but to me, it almost looked like a mistake, okay? Those are some cons on this model. We bring up pros and cons, and I'm sure the manufacturers hate it, guys. So please, we use political capital every time we tell a negative thing about a plane. And sometimes it comes back to us, okay? Just so you guys know. But we're always gonna be truthful to you, and we're subject to you because you are our boss on this channel. And so when we do reviews, we don't do the reviews at the women call of FMS or Horizon or Hobby Zone or Arrows or Banggood or whoever it is we happen to be, or Amazon, you know, whoever it is we happen to be working with. We do it with regard to you. And there's manned aircraft up there. We can look this time because it's actually an airplane.
He's way up there.
Super cool. So if you guys haven't picked up on that over the last almost decade we've been doing this channel, we want to make sure that it's crystal clear. We answer to you and only to you. Now, that doesn't mean every one of you individually, because there's a lot more of you than there are of us. But we don't necessarily answer to the manufacturers. We do want for their success, okay? So we try to strike a balance between just bad-mouthing companies, like some of our competitors like to do, which is just gonna get them nowhere, and helping to encourage the manufacturers to adopt some of the principles that we appreciate, like flaps and LEDs. Have you guys ever heard me talk about that? Oh yeah, almost every video. I have come to terms that there are some planes that just don't need flaps. I get it, but why? We don't need RC planes either, okay? Well, I do. So at the end of the day, man, that plane is obnoxiously loud.
Really loud.
It sounds like, it reminds me of that. We did this, there was a MiG we did, and that blade, it was a foam profile plane, and that thing was so loud, you know, those pusher props?
Yeah.
It was like a 4-inch prop, you know, 4-inch pitch on it, on like an 8-inch prop. And that thing, it's all it sounded like. It reminds me of that plane.
That's how that guy sounds.
So anyway, guys, we want to make sure to communicate that so it's crystal clear. When we do these second thoughts, we're usually doing it under a less stressed situation than when we get this new out of the box and we're trying to rush to get a release date. That is where we work with the manufacturers because they have reasons for wanting to get marketing out. So we try to work with them there. But where we don't work with them is we don't like avoid talking about the problems that we see. In fact, they send us a lot of marketing materials and we pretty much ignore it. Hopefully they're not listening at this point in the video. Because really we want you guys to get our fresh feel of what we think of that plane. And largely, I don't really care what they have to say. I mean, I care that they have success and I want you guys to get the best of what they can give us. But at the end of the day, we answer to you, not them. And we want to remind you guys of that. Now, how can you help us? Because we do answer to you and you are our boss. The way you can help us is you can tell your wife about the snakes in the basement again. Because really, you need to order this thing and have UPS come around back. But that being said, if you don't have that same problem, I mean, my wife has always been really good and supportive when I have different hobbies and things, especially if we have money for that particular said hobby. So maybe the time she wasn't supportive, it was because we were making good financial decisions together. And we've always had a good luck with that. But I know a lot of you guys don't have that same situation. And so if you do, all joking aside, snakes in the basement is a good excuse to keep your wife out of the basement. But that being said, this plane is awesome. I think you would enjoy it. Is it going to be right for everybody? Probably not. Just like most planes, even the best planes are not right for everybody. But I do think this thing is a very good entry-ish level, big experience without getting into success like you will be if you get the Carobn-z Cessna 150T. That is such a mouthful. All of those Carobn-z's are. Yeah. That's why I can't ever say the T-28 right. Which, by the way, some of my favorite planes, guys, hear me. Favorite planes. Favorite plane. Favorite planes. Planes, plural. They're my favorites. And I like this style because I have a nose gear and I don't on the Carobn-z Cessna 150T tail dragger. I never had the nose geared one, okay? So just keep in mind, it's all about my experience. Might be a little bit different than yours, might be a little bit skewed because of my entry point when I started in the hobby. We try to speak to that so that you know we're being totally truthful. And every once in a blue moon, somebody will accuse us of not being truthful. That's why we film ourselves crashing into trees and destroying planes. Viper.
Multiple times.
Excuse me. Vampire killing zone. Fox and eagle killing zone. Just two examples off the top of my head. There's been a million more though. Oh, SU-27.
And the J11.
J11. There's $1,250 worth of planes. Ouch, my balls. Excuse me. So that being said, guys, we love doing this, but we need you guys to know we're always trying to be as truthful and holistic. We want to give you the whole picture, but it is hard, even though I talk a lot, to get all the details about every plane in every video. So that being said, please support us. That's how you can do it, is buy these planes from the links. It is literally how we make this work. If you don't buy the planes from the links, we literally will stop doing it because it will eventually dry up and it will turn into a huge, gigantic time suck. I have hundreds of planes that I can fly for an entire lifetime and I will never get bored. But I want to drive the hobby in the right direction. And you guys can help us do it because listen, you have like an inside connection to FMS, Horizon, Arrows, Hobby Zone, Banggood. They listen to us, sort of, okay?
Very small connection.
Very small connection. Very loose, hardly any, but still hanging on by a thread. But the point is, if we annoy them enough, they'll do it because they will listen to us because when we talk to them, they treat us as though we are talking or we're speaking partially for an audience, okay? Help us be that for the community, okay? Because we do have good interests at heart. We don't need the money from this channel, but if this channel is gonna be this big a part of our lives, we do need the money, okay? Because we are expanding right now before your very eyes to add the future pond. It's happening hopefully in like, could be as quick as like 10 days, which is really exciting. Also, we've got another big building, which would be like the damn gift shop the dam runway, we have the helipad going in, and then a full-scale strip. And I'm not just making this up, guys. This is like actually happening. But it's only gonna happen if you continue to support us, because we literally can't afford it otherwise. So we really want, those are the dreams that we have. And you guys are helping us to reach our dreams. But also because we can leverage the relationships that I have with the hobby companies to help give real feedback in an no BS kind of way to them, and also give feedback to you in a no BS kind of way, which is strange to be in that situation, I got to admit, but I love doing it. So that being said, if you want to help support us, just buy that plane from a link, or buy another one. If you don't like this particular one, maybe you want the 1220, or maybe you want the carobn-z, which is from Horizon. Well, guess who makes that? I'll let you think about it for a minute. This is FMS, okay? Second thoughts give us a little bit more freedom. We just want to talk about the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And at the end of the day, there's also 4 other ways. We have super thanks, one-time donations. We have membership on YouTube, membership on Patreon, which does give you a little bit easier access. I think we're up to like 39 supporters on Patreon, which is really cool, guys. It just like, it really warms our hearts to see you like sending a few bucks for no reason. It's awesome. But also at the same time, like, this is a volume thing, okay? We need you to tell your friends that might be interested. We need you guys to get them buying from the links. That's really where we win, because it helps us to have leverage against these guys. Without that leverage, we become a lot less valuable to you, even though we do answer to you. Oh, and then also we have PayPal if you want to just do one-time gifts. So anyway, guys, we know that you already know that because we say it a million times. And we say it a million times because we know some of you guys get into the video at a certain part, and then you get out of the video at a certain part, and you don't hear the whole thing. So if you're just tuning in, buy the plane from the links. Why would you be tuning in here? So guys, with all due respect, we really appreciate you being here, but we need your help, okay? And the way you help us is to just buy these amazing products, whether it be a leaf blower, an air chuck, where we have shamelessly used kittens to advertise it, or it's an e-bike. You know, we know you love e-bikes, you closet e-bikers. But at the end of the day, that is literally what you can do to help keep us on the air. So, and also YouTube has decided to start claiming that us asking you to support us by following links is like somehow evil, and they're going to try to shut it down. And I'm just warning you, when that happens, it's going to really jeopardize our ability to keep this happening. So if you could just lift up that special finger and click on the button, it would be your special way of thanking Google for that. And also check out brianphillipsrc.com, which is also our domain. Did we pay Google for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we paid them for the freaking domain.
Point you back to YouTube. It just helps you search better.
Also, BPRC me, we also paid Google for that. So Google, stick it up your filing cabinet. Thank you, Google, for giving us a platform for which to share millions of hours worth of footage. We are good minions, we promise, deep within. So guys, if you want to help support us, that's how you can do it. We know you're here for us, but make it real. Make it real, guys. We got more coming as soon as we can get it to come. And we know you'll be back. We know you'll be back for more. I'm Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching.